optical art. Okay guys, you that have been following me know how accurate my charts have been for calling tops and bottoms and predicting moves way in advance. Now I've been predicting that a Black Swan event was going to take place between October and November. I believe that second Black Swan event has already taken place. This is going to trigger the drop. It plays along with this chart. This chart is a blueprint of what's about to play out. I'm going to break down this chart, explain why this is the case, and I'm giving you an exact prediction. I'm telling you within 15 days is going to initiate a drop. It's going to cause Bitcoin to crash at least 80%. Again, you might think it sounds crazy. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to explain it in detail. So watch this video all the way through. This right here, so I'm going to show you a zoomed in version of this section right here. That is zoomed in, this section right here. Before I get into that, guys, a lot of people have been requesting lifetime. Look, I wasn't available for Black Friday, so just this weekend only, if you want to get lifetime access to everything, Bitcoins, altcoins, precious metals, Discord, Twitter, tutorials, everything. One-time payment, $349. This is going to be the last time for a good while I offer lifetime. So if you want to take advantage of that, contact me at the contact page of the website. It'll be pinned in the first comment, and it'll be in the description. I'm so confident that this is going to play out. My subscription prices are going to go up in about 15 to 16 days. If you're already locked in now, that price will not affect you, but new subscribers will have to pay that new amount. So let's break this down, guys. So this is a video I put up on November 21st. I gave you a scenario, said it's more than likely. This was our left shoulder. This is our head. We would come down, test the support around 54K, push up right up this white line. Again, when we break this white line, I expect the crash to begin. And you can see how this played out. This was our left shoulder, this was our head, and we came down and we tested right here, right at this point around 54K. This is a point you should have bought in. I'm going to show you how high this is going to push up to form our right shoulder. And again, when we make contact with this ring and we break this line, this is when I expect us to have that crash. Okay, so before I go into detail on that chart for Bitcoin, it's important for you to understand that Bitcoin follows U.S. markets. U.S. markets up, Bitcoin up. U.S. markets down, Bitcoin comes down. So if you can predict moves with the indices, you can predict what's going to happen with Bitcoin. So this was a chart I published on January 7, 2020, and I was predicting a month in advance that the Dow was going to have a correction, at least down to 27,000, potentially 26,000 by late February 2020. I didn't expect us to have a crash, just a correction. If I hit play, you can see what happened. We crossed this ring, we did come down, but we actually had a crash. So come to find out later, this ring actually was a trigger for a Black Swan event, our COVID crash. But understand this, Bitcoin and the stock market did not crash because of COVID. COVID was an excuse to crash the market. Market makers, institutional money, the big players, they dumped on retail. They had an excuse to do it. It was overvalued, over leveraged. That was their excuse to dump it. If it just happened for no reason, and if we didn't have COVID and everything crashed, retail would catch on that the markets are manipulated and it's rigged against them. If they have an excuse to dump it, well, Bitcoin crashed to 3,900. That's only happened because of COVID. Well, again, COVID was a reason for the big players to dump on retail. So my point is they have a new reason to dump. So if you've been following me, again, I've been talking about this for a while. This was October 16th. I was talking about these rings. This was our COVID crash. This caused us to crash 10%. This was some of the tech stocks I had a drop. I'm telling you, this ring we just crossed, this was the next Black Swan event. And this is the live chart. Again, I have charts of the NASDAQ, S&P, Dow Jones. This is your next major support. But again, this ring we just crossed, this is the Black Swan event. And I do believe that we're going to continue to move down this ring. And again, I expect a lot of downside for the stock market. And again, that's why I'm expecting a major move for Bitcoin as well. So again, you all heard about this new COVID variant. There's a U.S. travel ban, South Africa, Zimbabwe, all these different places. As soon as that happened, the Dow Jones dropped 5%. And again, that's what I'm saying. They have an excuse to dump now. All the stuff going on with Evergrande, China, inflation, supply chain issues, now this new COVID variant. Perfect time. Oh, everything crashed. Why did it crash? COVID 2.0. I mean, guys, come on. They're setting this up so they had an excuse to dump on everyone. So let me break this down and show you how this is playing out and why it's going to play out. So again, this right here, this is 2019 right here. And all of this is 2020, 2021. So as you can see back here, back in 2019, this is when we started pumping, right? We pumped from this point. you know, retail bought into. Most of this was institutional money and big players pushing the price up. Got caught in this head and shoulders. We broke down, got in this channel. We crossed this ring. We dropped. We found support on this channel. As soon as we made contact with this ring, we dropped down to where? That's right. We dropped down to exactly where we pumped. All of the value, all the money pumped into Bitcoin back in the 22nd of March 2019 was wiped out. Right back from where we pumped from on the 15th of March. COVID caused the crash. Well, I disagree. I think COVID was an excuse for the crash. But I think the exact same thing is playing out right here. And we just recently put in a new all-time high, getting people even more bullish. Huge bull trap, guys. So right here, this was October 1st, 2020. This is where we pumped from, right here. All of this value, pushing the price up, pushing Bitcoin up, forming a head and shoulders. Breaks down. We get caught in this channel, just like the yellow flip circle. Pushing up. We cross this ring, drop down to support. We're going to hold support. We're going to form our right shoulder, and then we make contact with this ring. We're going to break this line, and all of the value, all of the money that's been pumped into Bitcoin since back here on October 6th, beginning of October 2020, is going to crash. It's going to come down to the point it pumped from. Take note that this right here is the 300 weekly moving average. I think we're going to drop a little bit below it. I think, again, the point we pumped from right here is a point we're going to drop to. That's going to be around 10,000. It's going to play out identical to how it did in 2019. Again, they had their excuse to dump the market. They're setting it all up. So let's move on. So I'm going to show you how high this can push up to form that right shoulder, and I'm going to give you some smaller price targets for Bitcoin as well. This is a published version of that chart. This is published on November 14th. This is where I was talking about when we crossed this ring, we would drop. Just want to show you how this played out since I posted it. I just want to play it real quick to show you this. So I said when we crossed this ring, we would drop down to support. You can see that's how it played out. Currently, I did lower this line a bit, but this is our support. Once this breaks, this is when I expect us to crash. But I did want to show you how accurate this was. So let me show you how high this could push up, potentially putting that right shoulder. You can see this is the G1 chart. This has been a lot of support and resistance going way back. This is a very important support and resistance level. So if we push up, I think the top will be around 62,500 to potentially 63,000. I think that's as high as we'll go to put in that right shoulder. And I want to show how accurate these charts are. Take note back here, 53K right here. This is 48K. And then right down here, this green price label at 39,500. This is a video I put out on September 12th. And I was saying Bitcoin pumped to 48.8K and then dropped down to 39.2K. And I even gave a specific date right here. We'd push up to 48K, get rejected. This is where we got rejected for 53K. We pushed up to 48K, we would drop down to 39.2K. This is where you'd buy in. This is a published version of that chart, August 31st right here. Look how this played out. We were already up at 53K. We dropped down and said this is where you buy at this yellow ring. We'd push up to 48K. Remember, this is an angle. The lower it, the further out, the lower the price. Let's say we push up to this point. This is where you'd buy, and we'd push up. Look how this played out. Way in advance. 53K topped out. You buy here. You sell here. You buy here. And look at this line right here. We hit it as resistance, support, resistance. Drop down to support. Now it's currently resistance. That is this chart right here. That is this line right here. So again, we pushed up, got rejected. Came down, this is where you should have bought at 39,500, and we pushed up. That line right here, this green line right here, is this line right here. Notice we pushed up as resistance, support, came back down as support, resistance, and now we're currently under this line right now as resistance. So if we push above, your current resistance we need to get above right now is right here. That we're testing 55,666. If we get above that point, the next point to watch is 63,000. But I believe that will be the top to put in our right shoulder. As soon as we hit that point, this is where you would put in your short, and that's going to be one hell of a short, guys. Because I expect once we hit 63K, that will be the top before that 80% drop. And again, so that means right here, potentially this would be the top of our shoulder. So again, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Again, once we break this point before this ring, this is when it all comes down. All right, so I'm gonna give you some price targets. So look, if you get access to the charts, like I can tell you right now, this is gonna be your next major support. When we hit this point, this is where I'm gonna buy, because it's gonna be one hell of a bounce, and this is gonna be the next point you wanna buy. I make more money on the way down than the way up. because I swing trade, guys. When we hit this point, I know we're going to get a bounce. It's going to be a lot of support. This is a lot of support. This is double support. So you get a hell of a bounce here, and this ring is going to be a hell of a bounce as well. But let me give you some smaller price targets to pay attention to. But guys, please keep in mind, I've covered this chart plenty of times. The Bitcoin is a hedge against the US dollar. When the dollar dropped, guys, the dollar came down. The dollar dropped almost 15%. Bitcoin pushed up 2,500%. The dollar pushed up almost 11%. Bitcoin dropped almost 84%. The dollar dropped a little over 13%. Bitcoin pushed up over 1,400%. Guys, you can see the dollar is pushing up. If the dollar pushes up 15.865, over about 16%, Bitcoin is going to drop around 82%. I'm telling you, with the stock market potentially about to have a crash, the US dollar pushing up, you can see the inverse correlation between Bitcoin and the US dollar. That's what I'm saying, guys. Everything is set up for a huge crash, not only for the stock market, but for Bitcoin. The dollar continues to push up. Bitcoin is coming down, guys. I'm trying to show you what's about to play out. But let me give you these price targets. So these are my, these are the C1. If you have access to the charts, the C1 and the H1 chart are for smaller targets. G1 and K1 are for larger targets. So currently, at the time of recording this video, guys, your current resistance, all right? So your current resistance right now is this yellow line. You can see this has been a lot of resistance right here. So if we get above 55,400, the next key resistance to watch is going to be up here around 58,131. Your next major resistance above that is going to be right here, 60,500. Keep in mind, 62,500-ish is going to be the top, in my opinion. If we drop, your current strongest support right now to watch is around 54,357. If we get down to this point, we've already broken that key support. If we get below, again, 54,000, I mean, it's game over. We're already coming down. But again, these are smaller price targets on the C1. The H1 chart, guys, again, this, as you can see, if you've been playing this chart, guys, I mean, this has been gold. You come up, resistance, support, support, resistance, support. We broke below it a bit, came back as support, support, pushed up as resistance, and we came down as support. Okay, so this is where you should have bought in, around 53,500. Your next major resistance to watch is going to be right here, around potentially 56,100 up to 57,124. This is an angle, depends on when you hit it. Your next strongest resistance above that to watch is around 59,717. At any point you make contact with this line is when you get the hell out. Again, a lot of confluence showing 63,000, 62,500 will be the top for that right shoulder for us to come down. As far as targets to the downside, yes, you will catch bounces on these targets on the way down, potentially 47,120. I mean, if we drop that low, you will catch a bounce. But at that point, we'll have already broken down. Again, this zoomed in version of this. Let me get rid of some of this. At that point, once we break right here, once we break, you know, 53,537 right here, I mean, it's game over. If we're out here, we form the shoulder. As soon as we break this point right here, this will be, you know, if we're out here, once you break 56,135, that's it. We're coming down. You know, if we hit it and we break it here, 55,262, that's it. I mean, we're coming down. But I do believe we are going to form our right shoulder, potentially 63,000. And then once we break 56,529, whenever we make contact, again, before this ring, that's when it all comes down. But guys, that's pretty much it. If you do want to access these charts, website's optimalcrypto.com, link pinned in the first comment and description. If you want to sign up now before the prices go up, because once this plays out, again, prices go up, guys. That's it to the next video. Trade safe, trade smart. I'm out.